So welcome back. This is part 2 of 3. We're gonna go back to the most expensive on the second set. This is number 7 of 12. If you're kind of wondering what's going on, I'll have a link in the description of the first video. It's might be a little lengthy, so I'm going to try to cut every video down as much as I can, but give you as much information as I can as well. If you have any questions, leave comments down below. We'll answer them as best as we can and as soon as we can. We have a little one, so sometimes if I can't get to you right away, it's nothing against you. So the first one up is a baby, I don't even know how to pronounce this, Babygenics. They are $25.49 with an 800 count, which is pretty good. You're looking at about 3.2 cents each. The wetness is 2.5. I mean, they're fairly wet, but they're not too wet, so that's good whenever you need to do like in the middle of the night or when they're sleeping. You don't want to wake them up because it's too cold. The softness, that's a 3. It's just kind of right in between, right in the middle, not too soft. You really can't have too soft of wipes, but there's a little bit of texture, not too much. Value, she rated it a 4, I rated it a 3.5. They're not actually too bad. They're pretty decent wipes. So the strength, I rated it a 5. She rated it a 5 as well. And you pull on these, you gotta pull on them. They don't break. Is she okay? Size, they're 8x6. So your square, 48 square inches. So we rated that on the size of 4. They're actually pretty good size. They're not too bad. They're a little bit on the bigger side, but they're on the smaller side as well. The next one up is going to be the Hello Bello. They're at $14.98 for 600. So that's going to be about roughly 2.5 cents per wipe, which is actually fairly good. On the wetness, they're actually fairly wet. What we rated it at is 5 and a 4. Texture and softness, we rated that at a 4 for the both of us. They're actually fairly soft, and they actually have a little bit of a bumpy texture to it, so that should help when you wipe poo. Only downside is, with it being so wet, it can be very cold, depending on how you keep the room. So just keep that in mind. The wetter the wipe is, the colder it's probably going to be. So value is a 3.5 and a 3. I think we both think they're actually pretty good in value because of the wetness and then the texture and everything. The strength is on a little bit of a weaker side, so you're looking at 3.5. So I mean, they start ripping, you know. So as I said in the previous video, whenever you're trying to pull a wipe real quick out of the thing, they could break, and I'm not pulling on it very hard. And with the Huggies, that's the first wipes we used. I freaking hate Huggies for that reason, because they're just so weak. So on the size, 7.87 and 6.69. So they're on the fairly good side. You're looking at roughly 52.5 square inches, which is actually not bad. They're actually on the bigger side of wipes. So a 3.5 and a 4. I rated a 4 because they are on a pretty good side, bigger side. The next is the Amazon Sensitive. They actually have different lines of these. They have like Sensitive, and they have a couple other ones. We got the Sensitive simply because we just don't want to take a risk in general. So we always try to get Sensitive everything, because both of us have sensitive skin. Babies develop that over time. Sometimes they have it as soon as they're born. They're $17.99 for 720, which is quite a bit. And then if you have an Amazon thing, you get a free shipping. You don't have to worry about going and picking it up. So they're the same as the Hello Bello at 2.5 cents per wipe. We rated the wetness 3.5 and a 2.5. I rated these a 2.5 because there are wipes that are a little bit wetter. The Bello is. The softness and texture, these are by far one of the softest ones on the cheaper side. It does have a little textures on it, so these do actually help you quite a bit cleaning up poo. These, I'm going to tell you right now, these are probably my favorite ones because they're cheap, and they're not too cheap, but they're not too expensive either. They're right in between, so I like these quite a bit. I'm actually really interested in looking at the Kirkland ones because they're at 2.1 cents, and seeing if those are any good. But once we start running out, then we'll probably do a video on the Kirkland ones if anybody's interested. Let me know down in the comments if you're interested in the Kirkland wipes, which is from Costco, by the way. The value, we both rated it a 5. These are probably the best valued ones out there as far as the whole wipe and the wipe as a whole. The strength, this is one of our main reasons why, is because they are strong. They are super strong, super wet. They got texture if you need it. So they're all around. They're not too wet. The sizing on these is 7.5 by 6.75. So I mean, they're not too small. They're not too big. We rated that at a 5. Square inches at a 50.6. So they're kind of right in between. They're not too big, not too small. The Huggies Natural. Like I said, we don't really care for the Huggies, but I wanted to see if there was a difference for the Huggies Natural. So Huggies Natural is at $13.98 for 624 count at 2.2 cents per wipe. The wetness, they're fairly wet wipes. I will give them that. These are wet wipes. I mean, they're so wet, my fingers are starting to, all these wipes, my fingers start swelling. The softness, these are fairly soft for as cheap as they are. They are probably one of the softest wipes for the price, especially as cheap as they are. You know, the Amazon ones, they're soft too. Kind of hard to tell which one is softer, but the value is where we kind of nicked it off, 2.5 for both of us. And reason being is because of their strength. That is, you know, if you're trying to pull a wipe out and it breaks on you when you're trying to pull it out, that's not a good value. I don't care how wet it is. I don't care how soft it is. If it breaks on you, it's not a good value, because when you're trying to wipe a baby, you're trying to do things, and it breaks on you, you're going to go through more wipes. So at the end of the day, it's actually costing you more. So instead of using one wipe, you're using 2 or 3. So it's not really that cheap. The size, 7.7 and then 6 by 6.6, which equals 50.8. They're a fairly decent sized wipe. They're kind of right in between. We rated that a 4. They are a decent sized wipe. We'll give them that. But like I said, the strength, I mean, look at that. I barely pull. It's literally paper. So that's one thing is we're just both disappointed on. We don't like using them. So like I said, we were using these for a while. I had actually saved these just so I could kind of show you what's going on with these as well. We didn't want to buy any more of these because they're just a waste of money. These are the Huggies Simply Clean. They're at $18.27 for 864 count. That equals to 2.1 cents per wipe. We rated the wetness at 4.5. They are fairly wet. We'll give them that. The softness, these are actually not as soft as the natural, so there is a little bit difference, even though they're 0.1 cent difference. I think the natural ones, they are softer. We're actually kind of surprised about that. The value, 3 and a 2.5. I gave it 2.5 because the strength is just bad. Strength is a 1. Size 7.7 and a 6.6, same size. So 50.8, same size as the Natural Care. We gave that a 4 simply because they are the same size and they are a fairly decent sized wipe. And the strength, like I said, it's just like paper. And then the last but not least, and I'm actually, both of us on the Parents' Choice, are you actually kind of surprised with these wipes? They weren't actually too bad. They're the cheapest wipe. They're actually fairly wet. I mean, I was actually kind of surprised with them.
Just the texture.
Yeah, the texture is not too great, but these are by far the cheapest wipes that I've seen on the market. $18.48 at 1,200 wipes. That's a lot of wipes at 1.5 cent. So 1.5 cent per wipe. I mean, that's amazing as wet as they are. The softness, 3.5. They're kind of in between. They're not too great, not too bad. The value, these are probably the best valued wipes you can get on the market. 4 and a 4.5 and a 4. The strength though is the same as the Huggies. You can't really expect them to be very strong, being as cheap as they are. So we still had to, look at the strength. I really can't give it a 2. We both really couldn't give it a 2 because the strength really isn't there. I mean, it's the same as the Huggies. So I'm not being other things letting me weigh out. If it's not strong, it's not strong. But for the value, that's to be expected. But they are very, very up there in value for sure. 7.5 by 6.8. You're looking at 51. They're actually bigger than the Huggies, but not by much. We rated the size 4 and a 5. I rated a 5 simply because that's actually a fairly decent sized wipe for as cheap as it is. So other than that, as you heard, she likes everything else except for the texture, the softness. Other than that, these are a fairly wet wipe. Keep in mind, wet wipes will be a little bit cooler, especially at night, in the middle of the night, or just whenever you need to change them and they're still sleeping. It could wake them up. Other than that, like I said, if you have any questions, leave down below. Subscribe if you would like. It helps us out. Like the video if you like seeing stuff like that. We're gonna do a lot of parenting stuff, a lot of stuff that you have to buy with the baby, help you out, and see what the difference is and all that. We actually got a bottle video that we're gonna try to get done. It might take us a little bit. If you're watching this later on, hopefully the video should be up with the bottles. We got one more video. We're going to go over everything and tell you, what wipes we actually recommend, just as a personal opinion and everything else. So we appreciate you watching, and do what inspires you. Thanks.